Well, it's glad to be able to get to chat with you, just to at least getting in before you blow up, and then you'd get a whole entourage, and so yeah. But as I said, the way I've done my stuff, so as a therapist, I'm always interviewing people all the time just to see what's going on. But it's always start from the beginning, and then I don't prepare notes; it just flows as well and stuff. But I think for us, must be the music. It's like, how is it that you manage to be one in a million, to become a singer, songwriter, and be able to do the stuff where most of us don't? So it's like going back to the beginning and stuff. So yeah. So Cleveland, Ohio, is that where you're born and raised?
Yes, I am born and raised.
Okay. So it's far from LA, it's far from New York, it's far from Atlanta. It doesn't seem like it's where stars are born. So how did you start off in the music as a kid?
Oh, so as a kid, my family was very musical. My grandmother was a dancer.
What kind of dance that grandmother was?
My grandmother did African dance, so she was the first person to kind of bring African dance to Cleveland.
Oh.
And taught at the high schools and different colleges, and so yeah, my grandmother was a dancer. My father was a musician. My grandfather was one of the original members of the OJs.
What?
Yeah, he had to come back because my mom was being born, but he was a part of the original group, Howard Johnson. And so I always had music around me. It was always there within me. My father would train me as early as 1 year old, take me up to the attic and play notes and ask me to sing them back.
Wow.
And so I started playing keys when I was about 5.
Okay.
And I say, from maybe about 9, I've been writing. And then I formed a group.
Okay. So if we go back to when you're about 5, 9, and you're learning to play the piano, was this stuff that you wanted to do as a kid, or did you think, oh goodness, parents are trying to get me into singing?
Yeah, no, like I loved it. I always wanted to play the piano. Always wanted to play the piano, and I learned by ear.
Okay.
Listening to songs and trying to replay what I heard and stuff like that. So yeah, it was me. It was all me.
Okay. And then, but you mentioned that you started to write when you were 9. How did that come about?
Oh man, so I had my group. I wanted to perform. Like, I don't know, it was just in me. I wanted to create an album. So
at 9?
started. Yeah, at 9, 4th grade. I wanted to write us some songs so that we could go perform them. I was arranging the girls. I was arranging like, okay, you sing the top note, I'll sing the middle, you sing the bass. Like I was just there. It was.
What was your dad's? Because since he was part of a legendary group, he probably could have seen. How was he? Did he think this was good, or did he think, come on? What was their impression of what you were doing at 9?
So my grandfather, he didn't necessarily know about my group. My group was more so at school.
Okay.
My childhood, after a while, it got pretty lonely because my parents were out working and they were doing what they had to do to make ends meet. So I was kind of like solo, solitary in all of the things that I was doing. But I was always a creative child. I always had a big imagination. And you know what I can say? Disney movies really influenced me musically.
How so?
Because I think the arrangements were so attractive to me.
Okay.
It was almost like it was a magic in the Disney movies that reminded me of why I was on the planet, if that makes sense. I would hear certain things and I'd be like, yo, I want to do that. Like, I want to make that. I want to sing that. I want to be a part of that. And so I think Disney movies was a huge impact on me as far as wanting to create music.
Did you have any that you can remember? Any of the productions or Disney stuff that you can remember?
Yeah, I actually just revisited a movie last night. It was called Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
And the music to me, it reminds me of like 1920s, 1940s. Even the first song that comes on, Alice in Wonderland, it's all of this like classical and harmonies, and it's just so beautiful to me. And that was just kind of like, yeah, I want to do that.
So no, I mean that's impressive. And as you were looking at the Disney stuff, on the contemporary side, were there any sort of people that you were watching? I don't know how you are to think about who was out when you were 9 years old. Who were the R&B singers or classical singers out that you would have looked at?
Well, I think that when I was younger, I didn't necessarily see that again outside of Disney movies until I actually went to college and I started to go for music. That's when I got reintroduced to the classical music that I loved. I love Beethoven. Love Beethoven. And that was a classical composer for me that just really attracted me. You know, just his choices and the things that he would decide, it was so different and it stood out to me. But the closest thing I had to that was jazz and blues.
Okay.
So that was something that was played in my household. And so I loved Louis Armstrong and I loved Billie Holiday. And then more contemporary, I loved, Whitney Houston, and I loved Mariah Carey, and I loved Boyz II Men. I loved hearing harmonies,
okay.
And certain blue notes. That's why rhythm and blues was attractive to me, because it had the blues element in it. So
if we go back to sort of high school, because that's sort of coming of age type of stuff. Did you try and perform in school? What were you trying to do musically?
Yeah, there was we have a school called the Cleveland School of Arts, and I wanted to go there really, really bad, but you had to stay in the district, but my school did have choir. We did, I participated in choir, I think, for 3 out of the 4 years of high school. So we had that. We did a lot of gospel songs in high school. And I think after high school, when I got into college, that's when I was really kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go for this like full-fledged.
See, when you're describing high school, you almost as if it was it sounded as if it wasn't it didn't sound like going up. It almost felt like it was going down, and it's like, based on how you describe high school, which is quite strange. Yeah,
I had an interesting high school career because I was so different. I a lot of the kids were into trends and fads and fashion and things that were cool, like technology and stuff like that. And I just wanted to make music. Even when I was in class, I wanted to make music. I was a very intelligent kid. So I would be, with the intelligent kids, quote unquote intelligent kids, because I think everybody's intelligent.
Okay.
They would separate us from everybody else because we had different classes.
Okay.
So that kind of separated me from the popular crowd. But then I joined the dance squad and band. And so that kind of got me back in the popular, but because I was in the interesting, the intelligent classes, I guess, for lack of a better term, it was just always, I never completely fit into a category.
Okay.
And so it was different for me. And the music it was there, but it kind of got lost because it was, I had an interesting high school career.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then at this point, did you ever envision it as I'd actually want to make something out of this, or was just, you know, you're in high school, you're playing around, you can sing a little bit? What was it?
It was always, it has, as early as I can remember, it has always been, this is who I am, this is what I want to do. As I got older and got, you know, more closer to the industry, I was able to better define, you know, because I thought that I just wanted to be a singer, but I didn't realize that all singers don't write their own music, and I love writing, you know. So I was like, and you know, sometimes with your career, if you're going so good, you know, depending on your rate, how fast you're going, you could possibly not have time to create the music, and other people have to create it for you while you go do interviews and shows and things like that. So I got to be able to better define how I wanted to be an artist. But I've always known that I wanted to create music, always. Well, you know, I think people think that it's just a 1 in a million chance that you can be successful in solely creating music and supporting your life.